Okay, in this video we are going to enumerate the Ldap using the tool called Ldap search. So Ldap is a protocol and it's called lightweight directory access protocol, used to add, fetch and delete the objects in the Active Directory. Not only in Active Directory, we also have the Ldap Linux versions of Ldap, open Ldap. So whenever you see the port 389 open, so that means you can assume Ldap service is running on the server, and with this Ldap search you can authenticate and you can fetch the information on that Ldap server. And here I have my Windows Server 2016. The domain name is tech69.local and I have two users, test1 and test2. So by default Ldap service will be running on this Active Directory. You can also install Ldap service using the server manager on different port as well. We should need the credentials for any of the user to enumerate this out of this Active Directory. So let's assume the test2 user, you found some credentials and you can go ahead and try to authenticate. So if you view the help page, and you can see there are so many options. So you can use -L to print without any comments. And first one is -H the host. So this is the Ldap server, and this one is URI, and P is for port, and there should be another option B for bind, and we'll be using W for the password. And this actually the bind, you need to specify an object to bind the connection to, and from that connected object we can query the subtree from this. So here you can see there are some computers. So if you go ahead and bind for this computer, CN is equal, sorry, OE is equals to computers and DC is equal to tech69, DC is equal to local, then you can only query from this down part as well. You cannot query other users, etc. So that's why we will be binding to the main root root component, that is tech69.local. So let's go ahead and say LLL to remove any comments, and -X for simple authentication. So there are two types, simple and SASL, but we'll be using the simple authentication. -H host. So you can also give something like this, DC name. If you don't know the name of this domain controller, that's no problem, you can directly give IP address as well. So this is my IP address, and then we need to specify port, that is 389, and then we need to specify the username. So username is tech69/test2. So I have the credentials of the test2. I can use W for the password. So you can also use capital W and it will prompt for the password when you hit enter. Since we will be querying many times, let's put the password here. And the next option you need to do is bind. So where we want to bind, that is this one, or tech69.local, that is root component. So let's say DC stands for domain component, tech69, comma DC is equals to local. So this is the distinguished name for an object. Whenever you go here and the test2 and go to properties and attribute editor, and here you can see the distinguished name. So here you can see this distinguished name starts from leaf node to directory to the root node, and you can see the test canonical name is equals to test2, and this test2 is in the canonical name users. This is not an organization unit, so this is normal users, and this users is in the tech69.local. So that is the distinguished name. So after this distinguished name, Now we need to, if you hit enter, you will get all of these objects. There is so much, you get everything. You can query. See, you can see there is so many content. Now we are going to filter this. So here you can apply the filter. So these objects can be treated as a object classes. So there are some object classes like users, computers, groups, etc. So like that you can say object class is equals to user. So this is the case instance 2. You can type normal capital C as well. Now if you hit enter, and you can see there is so much information about all the users, and here you can see some of the information about the text to user. Object class is equal to staff, person, organization, person, and user. So this is like hierarchy, I guess. And here you can see all of the information. Member of remote desktop users, object GUI ID, you can decode that, and password last set, and object SID as well, and user principal name, this is the ID, and SAM account name is login name. So we can also get the attributes as well. So you can say SAM account name, and here you can see we get administrator, guest, default account, Windows 2016. So this dollar is the computer account. So you can see the dollar at the end, that means this is the computer account. By default, computer accounts are also treated as a user accounts. So there are two computers, Windows 2016, and this is a part of domain controllers, and Nikki PC is a part of organization unit, all computers. So you can put the space, and you can go for distinguishing name, you can say DN, and obviously we get the distinguishing name. So you can also get object SID, and you can query for user principal name. You can also query for the computer as well, only the computers. Let's say SAM account name. So these are the only two computers. Now what we can do is we can also perform some operations. There are some operators you can do, or, and, greater than equal to, less than equal to, and not. So here you need to specify the operator, that is end, and the first condition is object class is equals to user, and then next one is you can specify object class is equals to computer. So what we are doing is we are getting every object, that is user and computer. Now if you hit enter, user and computer. So okay, user, normal users are not computers, but these computers are also users. Now what I will do is I will put an operator that is not. Now here we are trying to fetch all the users but not computers, and hit enter, and here you can see we did not get Windows 2016 and Nikki PC. Here we are getting only the usernames, sorry, user accounts. You can also change this to or, so we are getting users or not computers. So I think we will get all the information. So we get all the information, that is either user or not computer. We can remove this one. We are getting either user or computers, so we are getting both. You can go ahead and properties and go to attribute editor, and you can see there are some important attributes, so you can try to get them as well. Let's go and see the groups. So object class is equals to group, and here you can see there are so many groups. So particularly we can also use, we are interested in admins, but we are also interested in only the admins, right? So I'm going to do another filter, that is, we can also use the wildcard as well. Object let's say name is equals to star admin. When you hit enter, and you will get only the groups that have the name admins in it, and here you can see only the administrators. Now what I want to do is, I want to fetch the users for the particular group. Let's say DNS admins. So you need to copy this distinguished name of this DNS admins. Now remove this one. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to change this object class is equals to user, and the next filter is that user should be the member of, and paste the distinguished name here. And hit enter, and there are no users under DNS admins. You can go and change this to domain administrators. Domain admins. And here you can see we got the administrator. You can also query for remote desktop users as well. Okay, they are in the built-in one. And here you can see the test2 user. So you can assume that test2, if you got the credentials, you can probably RDP into that user. So now let's come to the juicy part. Let's first right click on this, if you go to attribute editor and search for user account control, and here you will get the attributes of that object. And here you can see there is a hexadecimal number. When you are querying in this Ldap search, we will get the integer. So I will show you how to decode that as well. First let's focus on this normal account and don't expire password, and here you can see don't require Kerberos pre-authentication. So you want to query for the accounts that have this don't require pre-authentication enabled, then you can perform this ASREP roasting. So first let's fetch this user account control. So it's a object class is equals to user and same account name and user account control. So here you can see this is the decimal number of all the users, that is user account control. Now you can you can search for this. By default every user will have 512, and here you can see the 514. So there is a chart for this. So if you go to this website, and here you can see the chart here. So these are all the values for this respective flag, the flag and their values. And we have seen Kerberos account KRBTGT has the 514, so that means it should have the normal account, and 5 plus 2, 512 plus 2, that is 2, that is account disabled. So we know we can't log in into the Kerberos, so that's why it has the value 514, which is a combination of normal account and the account disabled. So in that way, if you encounter any flag, like say let's take the example for this. We know that test2 user have this flag don't require pre-authentication set. So we are going to copy this one, which is 42 lakhs 60,000 and 352. Now if you go to this 42 lakhs and see which is near to this, which is less than that 42 lakhs, this one 41 lakhs 94,000. So that means you can assume that this flag is set, and if you subtract this 41 lakhs from this 42 lakhs, you get some value, and you can go and search for remaining numbers, and which is below that one. And if this one is below that one, and we can assume that flag might be set. So here this is an interesting, the domain controller will have the 532480, that is some trust related. So you can see trust for delegation. So you can also use the PowerShell for this, but I used this, I did not get any like this flags value, flags in strings. I have found one script, and this one. So this script will take the integer as a parameter and tries to convert this one. Here you can see it's a list, and for each list it is trying to divide the number by 2, and you get a particular value. If it's 2 power 10, so it will try to and assume that this flag is set. So it's basically like dividing the number with 2 and checking the flags, checking the corresponding flags. So let's copy this one. I have already copied the code and saved this in my decode usc.ps1. So if I say PowerShell execution policy bypass and decode UAC, and you need to pass the number, and here you can see it will go and do the operation, and it will show the flags for us: normal account, don't expire password, and don't require pre-authentication. So here you can see we got the user account with this enabled, so you can go and do the Kerberos ASR posting. Now how to find this user account means you can just query for the user account control, which is greater than 40 lakhs. So you can also use the greater than equal to. So let's say user account control, greater than equal to. So the equal to sign is must. Now what you can do is you can copy this one, which is don't require pre-authentication. Copy this. So if any flag is set, that should be the value greater than this flag. That means if there is any other flag set along with this one, obviously you are going to add the number but not delete this. So that should be greater than or equal to this flag. Now hit enter and you can see we got the two users, test1 and test2. So you can save this query for testing the accounts with the don't require pre-authentication. Now the next thing is we are going to search for service principal name. So if the service principal name is set to something, so that means those accounts might be vulnerable to Kerberoasting. Where is this service principal name? So the service principal name is not set for this one. I think I set for this test one. So here you can see I set some temporary SPN slash the domain. Now how to fetch this one? You can just fetch using service principal name. So you can delete this one. Okay, we also got service principal names for the computers as well. So what we are going to do is we are going to say not object class is equals to computer. Or what we can do is we can simply say user principal name is equal to star. Star means there should be something. Sorry, not user principal name, service principal name. Sorry for that. And also I hit the typo. Service principal name. Okay, we got one domain controller and remaining users Kerberos and test1. You can see this one. You can try to do the Kerberoasting and get the hash for this account. Now another thing is you can also get the operating system information as well. Object class is equals to computer and get same account name and operating system. So this should give you the idea of what operating system the computers are running. We can see Windows Server 2016 and Windows 7 Professional. So you can go and try Eternal Blue. So this is very important one, operating system. And you can also do the nested operators also. Like if you have the end here, so we have only one thing. So we have only one filter, object class is equal to computer. You can also add nested filters as well. So this is another filter. You can do the same nested end or as well. So I think that's all the basics about this Ldap enumeration. So you can also use the tool called ds query. So this is similar syntax to Ldap search, but you can run this on this box. You should run on the, like, you can log in with this credentials with the EVWinRM and get the PowerShell prompt, and you can run ds query as well.